Hello there, and welcome to my channel. Today I watched the movie LA Confidential, and now I want to review it. It's a crime drama released in 1997 that follows three cops on a case involving multiple murders, drugs, and high-class prostitutes who look like movie stars. The film is based on a novel by James Ellroy and was adapted into a screenplay by Brian Helgeland and Curtis Hanson. Hanson also directed the film, which stars Russell Crowe as Bud White, Guy Pearce as Ed Exley, and Kevin Spacey as Jack Vincennes. The story starts by introducing us to our three cops and their varying personalities. The three live and work in Los Angeles during the 1950s. Bud White is a violent but intelligent cop who viscerally hates women beaters. He takes it personally and isn't beyond threatening and harming suspects who won't cooperate with him. His temper is also legendary in his precinct. Jack Vincennes is a famous cop who works with a reporter to make high-profile busts and advance his public persona. He's willing to lie about anything but finds it slowly chipping away at his soul. He has a lot of good connections and knows where to look to find what he needs. Ed Exley is a young and righteous cop who knows how to play the system but doesn't want to do things the same way as his predecessors. He wants to use good police work and not violence to put criminals behind bars. The case starts with a mass murder at a restaurant and a few seemingly unconnected murders of different gangsters. As each of the three cops gets drawn into the case through different avenues, they end up working together periodically and sharing information. As they dig deeper, they find a network of corruption and criminal activity that threatens to put an end to their lives. The screen time swaps back and forth between the three cops and their perspectives, and also shows the viewpoint of the criminal mastermind and a few other characters as needed. They're supported by a cast of witnesses, suspects, and other cops who assist in the investigation. Outside of the leads, you see big performances from Danny DeVito as the reporter Sid Hutchins, Kim Basinger as Lynn Bracken, the love interest of Bud White, and James Cromwell as the chief of police Dudley Smith. The visual journey involves watching these three cops investigate the different murders in their own unique ways. The story takes place in 1950s LA, so there are a lot of old-fashioned hairstyles, outfits, cars, and buildings. They spend a lot of time in the police bureau, but also visit numerous locations as they investigate crime scenes and interrogate witnesses. The film ends with a big shootout between two of the officers and the criminals. Sound-wise, the film makes use of a couple of original songs to set the atmosphere and a lot of scored tracks to follow the scenery and try and draw out the emotions within. The original songs they used were old-fashioned lounge-style music that felt era-appropriate. The scored tracks were done by an orchestra and are generally simple tracks that draw out a single emotion. There are lots of strings, pianos, and horns. Okay, this movie was good and holds up pretty well. The writing is complex and a bit hectic, but it draws out some good emotions, creates some interesting characters, and tells a fascinating murder mystery. Each of the cops has their own personal journey and sees quite a bit of growth, and there's a lot of nuance to them. We get to see big moments of change in each of their lives, and as we follow them, we're also introduced to an extremely exciting case. The case is filled with death, destruction, and mayhem, which all draw out great emotions, and we see each of the cops struggle with what it means to be a good cop. The cast does a believable job of their roles and plays out some incredibly deep emotions. There are standout performances from actors like Russell Crowe and Guy Pearce, but everyone does a fantastic job of their roles. There are no wooden line deliveries, and everyone seems to fit in perfectly. Russell Crowe is called to play an angry cop with a short fuse. He gets extremely upset in this film and goes through a plethora of deep emotions like sadness, numbness, and seething rage. He did a great job with the outbursts and the subtle emotional work. You understand where he's coming from, and it puts his flaws into perspective. Guy Pearce plays a calm and collected man who uses his brain instead of his fists. He delivers some masterful monologues and does a great job of coming across as a hero. He doesn't get to do as much emotional work as the others, but provides a solid emotional center for the story. You want him to win and clean up the corruption in the city. The visual journey does a great job of presenting interesting locations for the characters to interact in, and it does a good job of clearly displaying the story. There's a lot of standard camera work and good angles to capture the big emotional moments. That said, it kind of lacks big visual standouts. There are some big emotional confrontations and a few nice shots that are aesthetically pleasing, but there's only one big action moment. The shootout at the end, and it's filled with cheap-looking visuals. They spend a lot of time on people aimlessly shooting into the air, and guys falling over as they come into view. The deaths don't look real, and the action is kind of lame. Sound-wise, the film does an okay job of supporting the emotions in any given moment and creating a bit of atmosphere, but it isn't all that memorable. The songs tend to have a repetitive sound to them, and they kind of blend together after a while. They do follow the scenery well, but the simplicity of the songs works against them. The songs don't feel like they get at the spirit of the scene with just one emotion. Instead, they feel a bit generic. Overall, LA Confidential is a decent cop movie with a well-written story and good acting. The visual journey and the music work for the film but don't stand out as all that special. If you like murder mysteries, this one is well done. As for a rating, I'd give this film a 7 out of 10. Remember, these are just my thoughts on the film. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Bye-bye.